Neurophilosophy Part 2. So, with the brain, mind, body, there's other people who want to say ego, who want to say consciousness only. Human only. And I don't have the resources to get into those arguments, but I was at the University of Washington library earlier talking to the pretty librarian woman who's always sweet and nice, and we have conversation every time I go in there because she's always there on the same day I go. Saturday. Months apart, you know, I just recognize the voice in the face because she talks with me. We have conversation. And so I was going over the psychological cognition and, the magic, the psychology, and was talking about the mind-body and like the traditional mind-body problem of philosophy, of what smart people do and talk about, philosophy. And thought about another example, kind of what we were talking about in our conversation with the mind and body, and thought, well, shoot. So let's say I'm the body and the Punisher's the mind. Or if there was another person next to me, I'd say, okay, I'll be the mind, they can be the body. And for a totally non-dual perspective, just saying in less words, mind, body, and the two interacting, and where the problem, or as other people say, the duality occurs, would be like with me and the Punisher. Skull on the wall, the body's like, the skull just stares back, the mind just goes, the brain, the mind. The body's like, and both mind and body focus and concentrate and have attention for what's taking place, awareness of what the body has described with this gesture, this behavior. And the problem has to do with the body not being able to do language without the mind. So unless the two work together and the voice says, I'm hungry, I need food, and there is a connection between the two, there is a togetherness, there's teamwork for a goal, for a purpose, for a decision such as needing to eat, a decision to get food, a decision to find food, a decision to buy food, a decision to go down to the river and get a fish out of the lake. walk down, get a hunting license, join an expedition, and find food for a long time, so that the two don't always have to be working together. And the problem has to do with the body, the mind. The body being kind of like Earth. Yeah, it's important. We know Earth. We have a name to describe our planet, the entire world. In the mind. A brain physiologically has a similar description as the body. Parts, synapses, neurons, all kinds of intricacies. And the mind has been made by the brain and the body in addition to these two parts of us all as humans. And there's benefits and there's difficulties, like saying like mind over matter, and you're just like staring at the cheeseburger and going, I'm never eating meat again, I'm never eating meat again. Being hungry because there's no other food until you get paid the next month. Mind over matter, coronavirus, like for me, I'm broke. Good gosh, my budget got screwed up. I wasn't expecting the city to shut down and everybody to just quarantine. So I, can't take care of some children I usually do once a week to get a little bit of extra food cash to help me with eating good. So now it's like, okay, I guess I go and I really calm the mind, calm the mind, make sure the body doesn't do too much and conserve, and keep my energy high so that my emotions don't get too bored and lonely and sad from just not having anything to do. It's like, well, if you're not going to use your brain, it's not going to just start doing stuff just to go. And all of the work that would be needed to get the brain to do those kinds of activities and maybe cause some sort of hallucination would eventually probably wear the body out, and the brain, and then the mind would just go, yeah. And then the cycle of abuse and suffering and, the reward system, of just like getting back, to it, and then getting tired from pushing so hard, and then, getting towards the end of the month when you're almost ready to get paid and just ready to just whew. And then not having the brain and the mind and the body relaxed and calm like they are in an ashram, and being at the mercy of fun and excitement and emotion like love and lust, pleasure, satisfaction from getting that plate of nachos on on the brain and mind for like weeks. And what happens with these kinds of, brain and for what I'm saying with specifically the mind and the body, the brain, the mind, but more specifically right now, the mind and the body has to do with being the change or making the change. Being the change and getting the body and the brain and the mind working together, or making the mind do what the body needs to survive. Having the mind work with the body to go to the food bank and talk to them and see if they've got food to give out to help you with hunger, or getting the mind to go rob and steal, sell drugs, take from the world.